creating the conversations, and then sharing the conversations. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. All right, let's play it forward. Real people, real stories. Episode number 433 is with actor Johnny Whitaker.
Hey, Arrow, how's it going? Johnny Whitaker here.
Johnny. Man, what a man you have been and grown into. How's everything going with you, guy?
I'm doing great. One day at a time. Happy to be here.
That's so true. Living it one day at a time, because I study meditation, and it's about being mindful of the presence of now.
Hey, you have 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, then you're crapping on today.
So what is it like to be a part of this 50th anniversary of Sid and Marty Krofft?
Well, it is tons of fun. Or it's going to be tons of fun. Sid and Marty and myself, we've maintained a positive relationship these 50 years. Marty has always been a good supporter and good friend. And, come on, they're next to Disney. They're, some of the best creators that, especially brother creators that have ever existed.
Yeah. And it was whatever they felt inside their imagination. It was like they brought everything to life, and you got to be a part of that with Sigmund.
That's right. Well, you see, my understanding here in California, smoking marijuana has become legalized in 2018.
Yep.
But when we were filming Sigmund, which was back in 1973, it was not as such. But Sid, I believe, was smoking something and, and was on the beach in his truck, surfing or doing something, and was sitting back watching the waves, and all of a sudden this seaweed started waving at him. And he went and grabbed the seaweed and threw it in the back of his car, drove over to Marty's house and said, "Marty, this is our new show. This is Sigmund. Come and say hi to him." And that's kind of how Sigmund got its start. But I was lucky because I had been quite a prolific actor even after Family Affair. I did 4 Disney movies and then got to star in my own film, Tom Sawyer, where I gave Jodie Foster her first on-screen kiss. And she goes gay. Not my fault. And then, I was at the top of my game. Marty calls my agent and says, "What do you think about Johnny doing one of my new shows?" And they discussed it, and for me to do it, I had to get some producer type of credit or money, so I got 5% of Sigmund.
Wow.
And, as a 13-year-old young man, that was quite a feat, and I got to help choose my co-star, Scott Colden. We just filmed a Disney special, Mystery in Dracula's Castle, the summer before. And so when he came into the room, I said, "Hey, how's it going, Scott?" And I got to hire him.
Wow. So this is way before CGI. How did the set look, and what was there, what wasn't there? Because, I love studying those old frames in the way of going, because you had to use your imagination.
Oh, yeah, and, no CGI. It was all done, there was a little bit of, cutting and pasting where, Rip Taylor in the second season came in to be the sea genie that came out of a seashell, and he would zap us here and zap us there and, kind of magically appear and disappear. So, we had those little tricks, but the costumes were actual puppets that the actors themselves would give the lines as a voice from heaven or in another room would be speaking for the different characters. And we had two great voice men. Walker Edmiston was the voice of Sigmund.
Wow. Wow.
But Billy Barty was the actor inside of the Sigmund costume.
I can't imagine what it was like to be inside that costume underneath those hot lights.
It was, I mean, I felt really bad, but luckily, you know, the scenes wouldn't last more than a few minutes under the light, and as soon as they say cut, the people were there to unzip and let them out and breathe and give them water, and Billy Barty didn't, or any of the characters, they would just wear their bathing suits, shorts and a T-shirt, inside, and but it was lots of fun. I enjoyed the 3 years that we got to film Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. And this Saturday, May 21st, in Orinda, California, we're going to have the first ever Krofft Kon.
Yes.
And Orinda is just east of, it's in the East Bay near San Francisco, but actually nearer to Oakland. And I'm hoping that we're going to have some live streaming event that's going to be available. And I'm going to definitely have a couple of live deals on my Pinterest or whatever I've got. I forget whatever the deal is that I have, but I will definitely be doing some streaming. You can become a Whitaker, following me on Twitter, and I forget. I think it's John Whitaker Jr. My Twitter feed, but it's we're gonna, I'll be there the whole time from 11 in the morning till 10 at night. We're gonna watch the movie version of the movie version of Pufnstuf.
Oh, wow.
With Mama Cat playing the witch, and then you're going to have an episode of Sigmund you're going to get to see, and I'm sure an episode of Lidsville and an episode of Land of the Lost, because Wesley Eure and Kathleen Coleman from Land of the Lost are going to be there, and Butch Patrick from Lidsville is going to be there. So we're going to have a lots of fun time.
All of these shows that you're mentioning bring back so many memories. And the thing is that what I love about HD TV these days is the fact that a lot of these shows are still being watched, and kids today are discovering what you once did. Do the younger adults reach out to you saying, I just watched your show?
Well, it's funny, Sigmund, they did one season of a reboot with Amazon Prime, and I got to be a part of that. And we have a whole new generation, but became just, it was lots of fun to come back and kind of be revered 45 years later from the work that we did. But being able to be a part of this whole, nostalgia, old actors, we don't die, we just go to con, an autograph show.
That's so true. So now this is going to have to become an annual thing, Krofft Kon, in the San Francisco area, because, first of all, it shocks me that there hasn't been anything like this before.
Right, and we're not exactly sure what's going to happen, but we'll see how this success goes, and if it is successful, I'm sure that we will do more and have a good time.
one of the things that listeners need to know about you is your commitment to the community. I mean, you are so dedicated to real people with substance abuse problems. To be that open with your heart, where was that seed first planted, and how are you letting it grow today?
Well, basically, when I was 16, Amisa Jones, who played Buffy in Family Affair, died of a drug and alcohol overdose. I, at the time, was a good Mormon boy and felt badly. Hadn't had much exposure to drugs and alcohol because of my LDS Mormon, upbringing. But later on in life, I decided that I need to relax a little bit, and so I went back to high school, finished my junior and senior year, and then went to Brigham Young University for 2 semesters, and then went on a mission for the LDS, the Mormon faith, to Portugal for 2 years. Came home and met a pretty model and got married. And unfortunately, 4 years later, she didn't like me anymore.
No.
And divorced me to marry the man who gave me my bachelor party. And, went on to have another relationship which was pretty serious and failed. And I lost all faith in higher power and in God, and I made a choice to go to the dark side, Skywalker. And was there for about 10 years, and my family said, that's enough. I had 3 nephews. They were 2, 3, and 4 years old, and was told I could not spend any time with them, and they could never be in my car until I had 9 months clean and sober. So I decided I had to do that, and so I got clean and sober. And 24 years ago, I got clean and sober, and 20 years ago, I decided to dedicate my life and my future to helping support other people who had my disease of addiction. Every August 31st, we have Overdose Awareness Day, International Overdose Awareness Day. And this year on September 3rd, I'm going to have the 3rd annual, going to have a Zoom meeting with friends and family and people who from all over the country, a celebration of lives lost and lives recovered. September is Recovery Month in the United States, and since the last day of August is overdose awareness, the first part, we're going to celebrate the lives of people who we've lost. One of them is, of course, Amisa Jones. Another is Dana Plato, who was a friend of mine.
Yes.
And then other people such as the young woman who played the oldest sister in 8 is Enough. That is Lonnie O'Grady, and she died of an overdose. And she was like a sister to me. And Michael Douglas's younger half-brother, Eric Douglas, and I were good friends and party buddies. And unfortunately, he died of a cocaine overdose.
Oh, wow.
But every this year, we're going to, if you go to JohnnyWhitaker.com or actually and get more information there, you can see and sign up and send me information, and we will be glad to celebrate the lives of a lost loved one or friend of yours.
On iHeartRadio, I have a channel that's called Creativity is the Addiction, because I am convinced that creativity is an addiction and people don't understand it, which is the reason why they choose the alcohol or the drugs and things like that. How do you feel about that, Johnny?
Well, addiction comes in 4 different ways. One is if you are brought up in a social environment where drugs and alcohol are openly used, that's one way. I'm Irish, English, French, and German, so I have a propensity for liking alcohol.
Yep.
And your genes are another way. The third way is if you've been through any major trauma in your life, especially robbery, if you've seen someone be shot or killed in front of you, so those who were involved in war, those are all what we in the behavioral health sciences have accepted for about the last 50 years. And then in the last, since 2018, came up with the loneliness in people who were outcast and not real members of society. And we can use that for the Native American society who, for 600 years have been subjugated by the white man and forced onto reservations, and the African American community, which have been, 500 years ago, the slavery up until recently, and, emotionally enslaved in many areas up until the 60s. The Latino Hispanics, especially the non-English speaking, and the LGBTQ2IA plus community is a big one, and not always being accepted. One of the reasons that these groups of people have a stronger propensity toward addiction. And if it has to do with, we have to be smart because, you can make a crack pipe out of just about anything.
Yep. So true. So true.
And so you have to have some smart, or, when you really want something, you're going to find a way to get it. And, that's just the way it goes.
Wow. I could talk to you all day. Congratulations on Krofft Kon. Please come back to this show anytime in the future, Johnny.
I'll be very happy to. And God bless, and, namaste.
I love
however you do it,
Excellent.
I'm there with you, trying to stay in the present.
You betcha, buddy. Mindful. You bet. You be brilliant today, okay?
Will do.